this ascension to the throne and the current situation with the coronavirus, is this all tied in with this internal battle in the USA?
Internal battles everywhere. It is the fulfillment of prophecy. The Jews have this prophecy where they have to destroy Europe before the Messiah comes. And Messiah just means someone whose earlier works are followed later. And all of these words have definitions like Lord, Christ, Messiah, Mashiach. Mashiach's born on a certain day during Rosh Hashanah after 7 years of certain events, which just happened to be my birthday and the time of my birth, which makes me King of Israel. Now, Israel's supposed to be run by a temple, not a government. So in acknowledgement of me being Mashiach, Israel has not been able to form a government in the last 17 months.
So is this all tied in with what you have to do as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we've been working on this since 1988. I've been working on it since 1980. It's just a normal life. I grew up in New Zealand. Then when I was 5 and a half, King George VI and Queen Elizabeth II's doctor, called Sergeant Surgeon, he came out to New Zealand, invited my father to share a sheep, and on Sunday we went for cold meat sandwiches, sitting on my father's knee, and he said, "Why don't you take your son down to see King George VI's son in Rotorua?" So I did that, and my father dropped me off. He was in there, then he left, and I had a private audience with King George VI's son, George Fitzratimer, who was actually King George VII. And that was on the 10th of July 1967. And at the same time, they changed the New Zealand currency from British pounds and pence to New Zealand dollars and cents. But they retained the old coin called a crown and kept it in New Zealand until 1971 in use, right? So they were, symbolically, they were saying that the crown is retained in New Zealand. There were signs and symbols all the way through. So if we go back a bit to the coins, from the 23rd of April 1968, 9.5 months after my meeting with King George VI's son, natural biological son, the coin started to appear Elizabeth to Greg. And that went on, that was first on a 5p coin, actually before decimalisation. And then it was last on the £2 coin on the 10th of June 1998. And that was 11,011 days apart. And 11 means the letter M, so it's spelled M0M. So something was starting to happen. I was being brought in and named and symbolised and labelled as royal.